Over the past year, the Ukrainian nation has come together. Ordinary people are now playing a leading role in confronting the aggressor. The contribution being made by volunteers is enormous. But how has this happened, and how far-reaching is the volunteers' role? In what areas do volunteers work the most? We will try to find the answers in this film. To do this, we gathered a team of Ukrainian, French and British observers and tried to explore the different parts of the chain. What we saw became the name of the film, A People's War.
Ой, на горі два дубки, взялися до кубки. Вітер дуба хитає, вітер дуба хитає. Вітер дуба хитає, хитає, козак дівку питає.
Расскажи, пожалуйста, в твоем персональном опыте и в вашей части, сильно ли волонтеры помогают?
Да, большая помощь от них.
А вот в чем ты видишь, как бы, они больше там одежда?
Одинаково, что одежда, что питание, одинаково стараются. Обувь, чем по максимуму могут, тем и помогают.
А местное население поддерживает вас?
Больше половины нет.
И там,
потому что...
Это ты имеешь в виду их отношения к вам?
Да, да, да.
А как-то они волонтерски помогают там продуктами, чем-то?
Все равно стараются, да, что-то остается и им.
То есть вы...
Подвозят, да, и с тем же и хлебом, и с тем же и консервами, и всем.
А вот тогда волонтеры откуда у вас в основном к вам прибывают?
Львов, Тернополь. Ну, в основном западная сейчас. Потому что там все в основном оттуда.
А ты сам в армию попал добровольцем или по мобилизации?
По мобилизации.
И это как бы часть регулярной армии?
Да.
Supplies for fighters at the front come to collection centres all over Ukraine. Now we are in one of the biggest collection points. Established after the Maidan protest, it's known as Volunteers 100, or by its other name, Everyone Can Help. Could you tell us your name?
My name is Marina Lisak.
And could you explain what you're doing here, Marina?
Here we have center, volunteer center, helping for people who injured, who involved in war that helping in Ukraine now.
So this is are you a purely voluntary organization?
Yeah, we are a volunteer organization, and also we have a foundation called Everybody Can, and we have in that foundation several volunteer centers, 5. Here one of them.
And can you explain why and how you began this organization?
I began this organization in February last year because it was a terrible incident happening in Maidan. And we haven't another opportunity to take power, to take decide what to do in our country. We must to do it. It's our.
And how many of you started this work?
We started from 10 people, I think, and now we have in our Facebook page almost 30,000, I think. It's a lot of people now.
And what kind of equipment or material are you collecting?
Here we're collecting humanitarian help to ATO, anti-terrorist operations. Yeah. And here we're collecting food, for example. We have action in supermarkets, and people help us to bring us all kinds of products. And also we keep here warm clothes and medicines that help people in that area to survive.
And is this because the government is not doing enough for the soldiers at the front?
Our government is weak because last 10 years, maybe more, it wasn't government thinking about people, about country. They thinking about themselves, about money, and about to help themselves, not the Ukrainian people.
There are also a lot of private initiatives created by ordinary people, and this kind of action is growing.
Меня зовут Алена Геращенко. Я 5 лет назад переехала в Киев из Санкт-Петербурга. Я волонтер, я помогаю 28-й механизированной бригаде со своей подругой Ларисой Юшкевич. Мы занимаемся тем, что снабжаем ребят медикаментами, средствами личной гигиены, теплой зимней формой, всем тем необходимым, что, собственно, там бывает нужно. Так, сейчас туда пойдут многочисленные. Это уже снимается?
Да, все, поехали уже.
Такие вот теплые, хорошие, удобные носки. Их сейчас будет очень много. Житомир. Не на мой рост. О! Это противошоковое.
Это какие-то уколы?
Да, это прямо шприц с инъекцией готовой. Это если очень серьезное ранение, боец может сам себя обезболить, и это спасает жизнь. То есть, чтобы человек не погиб от болевого шока.
Да, вообще это большая редкость противошоковое лекарство.
Да, я даже не знаю. Вот это все очень дорого, и это очень тяжело достать. Вот. Стоп, это нам надо еще в пузырьки упаковать. Вот. Вот добрые люди, совершенно замечательные, нам купили тонометр механический, аналоговый, простой, он гораздо точнее. Очень важно. Как будем носить? Ага. Люди ужасно. Да, бери с собой кого-нибудь, кто тяжелое понесет. Очень тяжелые вещи. Кого-нибудь, мужика бери, кто-нибудь тяжести таскал. Все, давай. Угу. Пока. Давай. Ну вот эти вот 40 килограмм груза мы собрали фактически за 3 дня. Когда отправляем бусик собираем за 1,5-2 недели. Полностью под завязку, так что еще думаем, как впихнуть что-то там, что-то еще остается.
Money for extremely expensive items, such as thermal imagers, is being raised in surprisingly creative ways. One of them is this art project.
Я Волобуєва Наталя, художник, скільки себе пам'ятаю, стільки малюю. І це зараз ми будемо в кінці січня, 30-31 січня, в музеї краєзнавчому в Києві відкривати виставку цих моїх робіт. І основна тема, яка там має прозвучати, це перевтілення цих живописних робіт в медикаменти, теплі куртки, допомогу воєнним. І якби так, звідти ці дошки прийшли, і туди вони і повернуться у вигляді нашої допомоги. Як на мене, це теплота жилого дому, яка може бути знищена тим, що знаходиться всередині. Вона дуже така тендітна, ця теплота. Вона дуже, як це, раніма якась.
Вразливо ти маєш на увазі?
Вразливо. От тут сидить наречена, чекає, так? І обличчя в неї не радісне, напружене обличчя. І от що буває, коли цей снаряд працює. Тут уже кольору немає. Тут уже тільки трагедія. Тому якось, це можна було б, мабуть, якось зберегти. Яким чином, я не знаю. Оце в мене другий ящик такий великий, снарядний. Це тут ідея така, що це покрова Божої Матері, а сама ця середина його, це наша країна, да? Тут і городи, і церкви, і хатинки, і квіти, і корови пасуться, і ці річечки там якась хлюпоче, і новий район десь вистроївся, і старий будинок. Все, що от мені особисто, мені якось, ну, до нього я відчуваю якесь своє особисте почуття, все воно тут, у мене тут. А оці святі і янголи, і Божа Матір, вони як небо. Вони нашу землю мають від цього страхіття якось зберігати. Це бронежилет. Справжній. Звідти. Це кулі, які поранили бронежилет і зберегли життя тому, хто його носив. Дуже важкенька штучка така.
It's late in the evening, and we've come to the collection point called Everyone Can Help. We want to see how the vans are loaded and how they deliver supplies to the front.
My name is Christina Tsukur.
And where are you from, Christina?
I'm from Ukraine, but I was born in Lugansk region.
And we've just seen you help to pack a van which has gone off to help some soldiers at the front. How many times a week do you send vans off like that?
You know, it's sometimes it's 2-3 times per day, really. So it's mean it's like 10 or 12 times per week. So it's very often.
And could you just tell me a little bit more about how you find the supplies that you send to the soldiers? Are you personally looking for certain supplies? Do you ask companies to help? Do you go out and...
It's work of a lot of people. Somebody is speak on the phone and they have information that some people needed our help. And other people try to find, and other people bring some things for us, and other people buy it, and other people try to find a more cheaper price for some things what they are needed.
Представься, будь ласка, можно просто меня.
Я Пузий Олег Леонидович, уроженец города Киева. Волонтерской помощью занимаюсь, ну, где-то, наверное, с середины лета, может меньше, чем с середины лета.
Ты занимаешься саме доставкою на передову?
Нет, первое время мы с женой собирали продукты возле супермаркета. То есть мы тележки выставляли, ну, надо было фонд открывать, ну, надо было трудности. Ну, трудности начали возникать, и мы от этой идеи отказались.
І ви зараз цю всю роботу виконуєте на волонтерських засадах?
Абсолютно.
Це ваш власний транспорт і за свої кошти ви будете вести?
Транспорт дал тоже спонсор Александр. Но у него есть возможность, зимой меньше работы просто у него, и у него 2 машины простаивают. То есть мы с ним тоже делали поездки, он тоже был в Дебальцево. То есть он это все видел, он дает транспорт. Все спонсирование с нашего счета.
We went to the war zone in eastern Ukraine. First, we visited the volunteer Azov battalion in Mariupol. Then we drove to a regular army unit near Donetsk.
My name is Zhenya. Yeah, I'm from Crimea.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 21 years old. Today, truly, it's like, just against, like, when something like this is happening in my country. I just cannot stand behind it. It's like sitting on watching TV and Russia is bad or something is bad. Actually, we're interested about volunteers, and it's really, I got a really respect to these people, because they're civils. Like, I actually was civil too, but like they're civils and they're like risk their lives to help us. They're giving us, it's everything. Everything in the beginning of this war, it was everything that we have. Again, government give us only guns and okay, let's go, guys. It's like everything every supplies and food and other stuff we get from volunteers.
I see.
Yeah.
Would you tell me your name?
Yeah, my name is Dmitry.
And Dmitry, would you tell me what you're doing here?
Well, I'm mobilized and I'm fighting for my country to keep Ukraine as one piece, with all to keep all the territories, and to fight against the Putin's aggression.
And are you with the Ukrainian army or with a volunteer group?
With the Ukrainian army, regular army.
And how long have you been with the army?
Right now for almost 3 months.
And could you tell me what you were doing before you joined?
Before I joined army,
Yes.
well, I was working as a manager, and I was doing with the door furniture, like doors, locks, and so on, all this stuff. That's my last job.
And but this is not your first time in the army, to serve in the army, I believe.
Yeah, I had my 1994 to 1996. I had my regular military service, and April 1996 to November 1997, I was as a UN military in former Yugoslavia for more than 3 rotations.
And do you think the situation that you're in now today has it any similarities with what you were doing for the UN?
No, to tell the truth, that Yugoslavia mission was quite calm, and by the way, it was the only UN mission which fulfilled all its targets, not targets, but the what it had to do.
We've heard a lot in Western Europe about some of the volunteer groups who have been operating in the east of Ukraine. Could you tell me, do you work in cooperation with these groups now? How is your relationship with those voluntary groups?
Yeah, for sure. That's the volunteers are the main force that actually support army. I mean, most of the personal protection, like most of the uniform and so on, food, also radio stations, radio equipment is supplied by volunteers, because the army or Ministry of Defense, they maybe don't have an opportunity to supply all this stuff, or maybe they don't have finance, or I don't know why. But that's the, and
So
we are very grateful for that help.
Right, so sorry, I'm just going to recap here, but so you're with the regular army, and yet most of your auxiliary support comes from volunteers. You're saying your food, your medical supplies.
Most of them, well, actually, the Ministry of Defense, they supply, but they supply us for some ancient, very old standards and so on. Now this conflict, we live in the modern world, and it has its own rules and so on and so on. The equipment they supply, the uniforms and so on, they are not comfortable. They are not practice. In practice, you can cheer it in 5 minutes and so on and so on. And what is supplied by volunteers? Mainly it's used stuff from Western countries, from NATO countries, but it's of the better quality. So it's better. It's now it's quite cold. The Ukrainian uniforms, they're not used to that level of temperature.
Because outside it's in the daytime it's -6, -7 now, and at night it's -12 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, a few days ago it was up to 22 or degrees below zero.
What did we learn from our investigation into the Ukrainian people's war? We found something unique, a nation rising to its own defence. We reckon that more than half the men and women fighting for Ukraine are volunteers. Even the soldiers in the regular army came of their own accord, without needing to be mobilised. When we looked at the army's supply system, we found the same extraordinary situation. More than 80% of the food, clothing and medicines is provided by volunteers. The percentage may be even higher. Sometimes we got the impression that the state only provides weapons and military equipment. But that's not true. The government does supply equipment and clothing, but they are of such poor quality that they have to be replaced with gear donated by volunteers. We saw very little high-quality equipment coming from the state. We asked for comments from the Ministry of Defence and the Ministry of Internal Affairs, but they haven't replied yet. In fact, we know the answer already. Ukrainians are defending their country themselves. The state is following a few steps behind, and the situation is slowly improving. And most importantly, the Ukrainian nation has already won.